What's the standing of the JLP and the PNP in Southeast St. Elizabeth? Southwest St. Elizabeth? Western St. Mary? And where do the parties stand nationally? What's the gap, if any, between Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Opposition Leader Mark Golding? Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM from 6 a.m. on Monday, May 26 for the findings from the latest Nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools.
Cliff Says is by far the most popular mid-morning radio segment in Jamaica. Cliff Hughes shares his views on the hot-button topics of the day, editorializing on various issues in the news, breaking news stories, and expounding on stories. Cliff Says sets the tone of the show for the rest of the day. Join the award-winning journalist Cliff Hughes weekdays.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, a clear majority of voters now believe the governing JLP is the best party to address the main problems facing the country.
That's according to the latest Nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools.
And confidence in the JLP to tackle the country's problems has risen across all age groups.
Dr. Carl Bruce threatens to take legal action against persons on social media claiming he has a stake in the company Medical Technologies.
Prime Minister Holness blasts opposition leader Mark Golding for his comment shading the $6 billion Morant Bay Urban Centre in St. Thomas.
I asked Dr. Fenton Ferguson to represent me at the so-called opening of that centre.
In news from the rest of the world, CARICOM reiterates its support for Guyana in ongoing border dispute with Venezuela.
War of words between the U.S. and Russia. Kremlin calls Trump emotional after the U.S. president says Putin is crazy.
In headline sports, Unity Cup tournament kicks off in less than 24 hours with Jamaica Trinidad Showdown in London.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35,
the Nationwide Blue Dot polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
The Nationwide Blue Dot polls say more than half of voters believe the governing JLP is the best party equipped to successfully address the country's main problems. We'll get reactions from the president of the Jamaica Employers Federation, Wayne Chen, and social commentator Suel Anglin.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to 3 police personnel being found guilty in relation to Mario Dean's death? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, you'll hear Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's address at the JLP Southeast Clarendon Constituency Conference on Sunday. This broadcast is brought to you by the Jamaica Labour Party.
And in the third hour, Equality for All Foundation, formerly JFLAG, wants West Portland MP Darrell Vaz to apologize for what it says is his endorsement of homophobic lyrics. The foundation's programs and advocacy manager, Nicoy Wilson, will join us.
All these and more as we take you home on air, on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, May 26, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details.
The Nationwide Blue Dot polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
A clear majority of registered voters now believe the governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, is best equipped to address the main problems facing the country. That's according to the nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools. 51% of Jamaicans say they believe the Andrew Holness-led JLP is the best party to solve the problems of crime, unemployment and cost of living. That number has risen sharply in the last 3 months when only 37% of voters held that view. Ricardo Brooks has been tracking the data.
The Holness-led JLP has been touting what it says is a record of performance and achievement over its near decade-long stint in government. The Prime Minister himself has asked voters to reflect on which of the two political parties are best suited to get the job done. It seems Jamaicans are now clear on an answer. When the Blue Dot pollsters asked 1,618 registered voters between May 2 and 17 which party they believed could successfully address the main problems facing Jamaica, the response was unequivocal. 51% of them said the JLP. That's a 14-point jump since February this year, when 37% placed their confidence in the JLP's ability. Notably, the JLP's strength on this question has risen by 23 points since February of 2023. That's when it recorded the lowest confidence level of 28%. The pollsters say the significant increase in confidence suggests voters are fast making up their minds and choosing between two governing visions. The People's National Party, PNP, has also seen an increase in public confidence in their ability to tackle the country's biggest problems. The party rose by 7 points over the last 3 months. The party moved from 25% then to 32% now. It's the highest level of public confidence seen in these polls regarding the PNP's ability to successfully govern. The PNP has increased by 12 points in voter confidence since 2023, but it's still dwarfed by the JLP's 19-point lead on the question of confidence. That's well outside the margin of error of 2.3%. 17% of respondents were undecided about which party was best suited to deal with the country's problems, but that figure has fallen from a high of 52% back in 2023. This may give credence to the observation of the pollsters that a strong majority of voters have indeed made up their minds ahead of this year's general election. In fact, the data suggests that for the first time in these polls, the confidence being expressed in both major political parties has surpassed 80%. If the JLP's General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang is right, and the record of achievement will indeed be decisive in the upcoming elections, the Prime Minister may well be dusting off his calendar and checking the available dates. In June, July, August, or September, only Holness knows. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
The Nationwide Blue Dot polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
Meanwhile, confidence in the Jamaica Labour Party's JLP ability to tackle the country's problems has risen across all age groups over the last 3 months. Voters aged 18 to 24 were most confident in the governing party, with 61% saying the JLP was best placed to address the country's problems. That's up 16 points since February. Mahiri Stewart has those findings.
The conventional wisdom says the JLP has strength among young people. These polls say that may well be true. The party holds a massive 37-point lead over the PNP, with voters between 18 and 24 years old. 61% of this cohort chose the JLP as best suited to govern. 24% chose the PNP. The governing party is also showing strength with voters 25 to 34 years old, where they lead the PNP 47% to 27%. The JLP has climbed 12 points in the last 3 months with this age group. The PNP draws even with the JLP among voters 35 to 44, where both parties are tied on 35% support. The JLP breaks out again with voters 45 to 54, moving ahead of the PNP by 24 points with this middle-aged demographic, registering 57% support when it comes to confidence, while the PNP nets 33%. The PNP manages to narrow the confidence gap with voters 55 to 64, but the JLP still leads by 12 points, 53% to the opposition's 41%. Most notably, voters over 65 are expressing significant levels of confidence in the JLP's governing ability, giving the party a near 30-point lead over the PNP, 56% to 27%. The pollsters say the JLP's strength across the generational spectrum may be driven by national developments. The pollsters were in the field amid news of the country's 40% decrease in murders, the public interest surrounding the opening of the Morant Bay Urban Centre, and the government's repeated touting of the unemployment rate. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
In other news now, renowned neurosurgeon Dr. Carl Bruce is threatening legal action against individuals on social media claiming he has a stake in the company Medical Technologies Limited. According to a statement from the University Hospital of the West Indies, it's affirming its unwavering support for Dr. Bruce as a respected pillar of Jamaica's medical community. The hospital and Dr. Bruce are hitting back against potentially defamatory allegations making the rounds on social media following the PMP's claim of corruption in the procurement of a surgical drill for the Bustamante Hospital for Children. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
In its statement, the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, expressed grave concern over what it calls defamatory and unsubstantiated allegations made by Dr. Roger Hunter against Dr. Carl Bruce. Dr. Bruce is a consultant neurosurgeon and medical chief of staff at UHWI. The UHWI says Dr. Bruce is an internationally recognized neurosurgeon with decades of service and leadership in the Jamaican public health system. In a voice note being widely circulated on social media, Dr. Hunter suggests Dr. Bruce owns shares in Medical Technologies Limited, among other allegations. For his part, Dr. Bruce says he does not own and has never held shares in Medical Technologies Limited, nor are any shares being held on his behalf, either directly or indirectly by anyone associated with the entity or otherwise. He says in his professional capacity he has provided consultation and conducted due diligence in the health sector from time to time. Dr. Bruce says any attempt to malign his work or disseminate false narratives linking him to the ownership of Medical Technologies Limited is defamatory and will be subject to appropriate legal recourse. Meanwhile, CEO of UHWI, Fitzgerald Mitchell, condemned the comments made by Dr. Hunter. Mr. Mitchell says recent suggestions seeking to cast doubt on his credentials or imply that he holds positions that create a conflict of interest are both inaccurate and misleading. He says Dr. Bruce is not a shareholder nor a director in any company that compromises his duties at the UHWI. Dr. Bruce is currently in a legal battle with Dr. Hunter over allegations of assault dating back to January 31, 2007 at the hospital. Dr. Hunter reported the matter in November 2024 after his return to the island. The opposition PNP and its spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, have claimed malfeasance in the procurement of a neurosurgical drill for the Bustamante Hospital for Children. The $31 million drill was procured through Medical Technologies Limited. The government and the company have denied any wrongdoing and hold that proper procurement procedures were followed. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has called out opposition leader Mark Golding for his comment about the Morant Bay Urban Centre in St. Thomas. The 20-plus acre urban centre valued at approximately $6 billion was opened about 2 weeks ago. But while speaking at the Bath PNP Divisional Conference in St. Thomas on Sunday, Golding shaded the government's move to officially open the centre.
I asked Dr. Fenton Ferguson to represent me at the so-called opening of that centre.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. Writing on his social media platforms on Monday, Prime Minister Holness says Mr. Golding's attempt to belittle the development goes deeper than just politics. According to him, it speaks to the heart of the opposition PNP. The Prime Minister says it's a party that is unable to acknowledge the development happening in the country. He adds that the PNP is also unwilling to witness and appreciate what these developments mean for the people. Prime Minister Holness notes that this is the difference between a government that builds and an opposition that tears down. He says this shows the difference between leadership that sees Jamaica and leadership that sees only politics, and leadership that focuses on what is good for Jamaica and leadership that focuses on what is good for themselves. Prime Minister Holness affirms his belief in development for every parish and progress for every Jamaican. He says while others may scoff from the sidelines, the government will continue doing the real work of nation building because Jamaica deserves nothing less.
The man accused of the murder of veteran journalist Barbara Gale will go back to court on July 21 after he was once again remanded into custody. The man, 24-year-old Travis Ellis, appeared in the Supreme Court on Monday for a case management hearing. Ellis is charged with the murder of Miss Gale as well as robbery with aggravation. The veteran journalist was found dead at her Caymanas Estate home in St. Catherine on December 17 last year. She had been bludgeoned and stabbed to death. Ellis also allegedly stole Miss Gale's vehicle, which was discovered a day later on Dyke Road in Portmore, St. Catherine. He was taken into custody after police found him hiding in bushes. In January, Ellis was remanded for psychiatric evaluation. The prosecution informed the defense team today that they must disclose a forensic biology certificate and a DNA report to the defense by June 13. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Celebrate 26 years with IQ Optical. Enjoy 26% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses this month only. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical in New Kingston, Manor Park, or Drexel. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all-expense paid trip for two, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news, Education Minister Senator Dana Morris Dixon says any discussions about the ownership of the lands of the University of the West Indies UWI Mona campus must take place at Cabinet. She was reacting to a recent plea made by the Vice Chancellor of the UWI, Sir Hilary Beckles.
Well, I read the statements from the Vice Chancellor in the newspaper, and so it was quite interesting to me when I read it. Now, the University of the West Indies has a lot of financial problems, and I can see how that could be one solution to some of the problems they have, but they have a lot of issues that need to be dealt with. In terms of the land issue, that's something we'd have to discuss at the cabinet level. I have not seen the recommendation. It may have been sent to the government before I became Minister of Education, but in my time as Minister of Education, that has not come to me.
At the UWI's annual council meeting earlier in May, Sir Hilary called on regional governments to give the university full ownership of the lands where its campuses operate. He says this would help the university diversify its revenue streams. Minister Morris Dixon says investment opportunities still exist for the university even as it operates on leased lands.
And if it does come to me, I will obviously review it and consider it and do the analysis to see if that would be helpful. The university has a 99-year lease, which started sometime in the 1960s. I think they may have maybe around 40 years left. on that lease, which is quite a substantial period of time. I think long-term leases are useful, and they actually allow someone to do pretty decent investments even without owning the property. And so we'd have to look at it, evaluate the request. When it does officially come to me, I will look at it.
Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, Minister of Education.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
In regional news, CARICOM has reiterated its support for Guyana's sovereignty following the country's ongoing border dispute with Venezuela. Border tensions between Guyana and Venezuela escalated on Sunday. This after the Venezuelans voted to elect a governor and other lawmakers for the Essequibo region, which is an oil-rich region recognized as part of Guyana but long claimed by Caracas. The vote marked the first time Venezuelans have elected officials for the territory. The election is described by Guyana's president, Irfan Ali, as scandalous, false and opportunistic. In a letter to President Ali on Monday, CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett says Guyana has made progress as one of the world's fastest growing economies. However, she says the escalating border dispute with Venezuela remains of perennial concern. Dr. Barnett noted that CARICOM remains steadfast in its support for Guyana's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity.
Russia says President Donald Trump is showing signs of emotional overload after he called Vladimir Putin crazy. Trump's comments follow Moscow's largest aerial assault on Ukraine. On Sunday, Trump posted that something has happened to Putin after Russia killed 13 in Ukraine with 367 drones and missiles. The Ukrainian Air Force said it was the largest attack yet conducted with drones alone. Posting on his Truth Social platform, Trump said the Russian president had gone absolutely crazy and was needlessly killing people. However, a spokesman of Putin says the comments were connected to an emotional overload of everyone involved. The Kremlin said the latest aerial assaults were a response to Ukrainian attacks on Russia's social infrastructure. Last week, Trump and Putin had a 2-hour phone call to discuss a U.S. proposed ceasefire deal to halt the fighting. At the time, Trump said Russia and Ukraine would immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire and an end to the war.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, a clear majority of voters now believe the governing JLP is the best party to address the main problems facing the country.
That's according to the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools.
And confidence in the JLP to tackle the country's problems has risen across all age groups.
Dr. Carl Bruce threatens to take legal action against persons on social media claiming he has a stake in the company Medical Technologies.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
And listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Outperform, outlast, with top performance, Jackhammer, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Pan select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all expense paid trip for two, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Striker Michael Antonio joined the Jamaica national senior football team in training in London today ahead of the start of the 4-team Unity Cup tournament. It was Antonio's first time with the team after his horror crash in December last year. The West Ham United record goal scorer had suffered a broken leg amongst other injuries following a car crash in London, which saw him ruled out for the rest of the season. The striker has seen a remarkable recovery since the accident and returned to the field in a training session with the national team today. In the meantime, national coach Steve McLaren says competing in the Unity Cup forms a massive part of the team's preparation for the upcoming Gold Cup and CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. The Reggae Boys are in London for the competition, which also features Trinidad and Tobago, Ghana and Nigeria on May 27 and 31. Jamaica will take on TNT at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon Jamaica time at Brantford City's GTEC Stadium, while Ghana and Nigeria will clash in an All-Africa showdown later on in the night. The winners will meet on Friday in the final. McLaren says the competition is a good way for the fans in the diaspora to reconnect with the team.
The long-term objective is qualification for the World Cup, and this is just one of the milestones to achieve that at the end in November. But when I came to Jamaica 8 months ago, I got the job. One of my dreams, one of my things I wanted was to bring the Jamaican national team to the UK. Because we have 500,000, I think, Jamaicans in London. And so I think it's been quite a while, and I do know that they came to the UK in '98 when they last qualified for the World Cup.
The game is the third meeting between the Reggae Boys and the Soccer Warriors in 2025. Their two-game friendly series in Jamaica ended with the home team winning the first 1-0. The second ended 1-1. And McLaren says he's impressed with the growth TNT has shown under Dwight York's leadership.
I was impressed in such a short time what Dwight has put into the team. So I think they've got a bright future. I think they'll climb up the rankings in FIFA. And tomorrow is going to be a tough game for us, because we're not at full strength. We haven't got the team we want. And as I said, we're planning World Cup qualifiers and Gold Cup. So we have to be wary of what we do. But tomorrow for us is purely an opportunity for individuals to show that they can get into the World Cup squad or the Gold Cup squad, because we still have 3 or 4 places up for grabs.
National football team coach Steve McLaren. New Brazil coach Carlo Ancelotti said he is honored and proud to lead what he calls the best team in the world and targeted winning the 2026 World Cup. The 65-year-old Italian was unveiled as Brazil's new boss in a new news conference at the Brazilian Football Confederation headquarters. The Italian joins the Celestial, having been Real Madrid's manager for the past 4 years. He has won the Champions League on 3 occasions, the La Liga twice over 2 spells in charge. Ancelotti also guided AC Milan to become European champions twice. He won the Premier League and the FA Cup with Chelsea, as well as a French and German domestic titles with Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich respectively. Legendary former West Indies captain Sir Clive Lloyd believes that the Cricket West Indies made a mistake in naming 33-year-old Jomel Warrican as its Test vice captain, suggesting they should have given the responsibility to one of the younger candidates. Lloyd's comments come a few weeks after 33-year-old Ruston Chase was named the new Test captain, becoming the 10th Barbadian to be captain of the West Indies Test side. Fellow Bajan Warrican, who has played 19 Test matches for West Indies, was also introduced introduced as vice captain. However, Sir Clive hinted that 26-year-old Trinidadian wicketkeeper batsman Joshua De Silva, who was among 6 people interviewed for the Test captaincy, would have been a better choice considering his age. Sir Clive says he hopes the younger players who were unsuccessful would not be disheartened or disillusioned. Lloyd said it is wrong to give a 33-year-old the Test captaincy and then also to give a 33-year-old the vice captaincy. He says they should have gone for a 26-year-old so that in 2 years' time he would have all of that experience and then he'd be able to take over the mantle. Captain of the West Indies women's team, Hayley Matthews, was named the player of the match and player of the series despite England winning the 3-match T20 International Series 3-0. Now, Matthews scored 177 runs in 3 innings, including 71 in the third game, which guided the West Indies to 127 for 8 in their failed quest to reach 145 to win. Matthews says she would swap the awards for a win.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, really good to be able to go out there and score some runs and get some wickets as well. But yeah, definitely a closer game today and one that we felt that we competed in really well. So would have loved to get over the line. I think just having some really strong plans and playing to my strengths at all time. I feel like I've been fortunate enough to get to play a lot of T20 cricket around the world and gain a lot of experience and learn a lot more about my game and just put my plans into practice. And thankfully, since I've been here, I've been able to execute pretty well.
Hayley Matthews, England made 144 for 5 of their 20 overs. Heather Knight made 6 for 6. Captain Nat Shiva Brunt, 37, and Amy Jones, 22. Matthews took 3 for 32.
This is Nationwide's Champions League Facts.
Did you know that the UEFA Champions League has its own anthem? Yes, that's a fact. Before each game of the tournament, Champions League, an anthem written by English composer Tony Britton in 1992, is played to celebrate and honor the fact that football is bringing together so many different people.
That was Nationwide's Champions League Fact.
Brought to you by Anybet, your best bet, and ATL Automotive, keeping Jamaica moving.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd have heard David's voice on the promo telling you that Nationwide 90 FM will be bringing live coverage of the Champions League final this Saturday, May 31, from Germany. It's Inter Milan against PSG. The game will also be viewed at Carib 5 in Crossroads. The tickets are on sale at the minute at the Carib 5 cinemas. $500 for regular seats and $800 for the box seat, yeah? And you can get them also on the Palace Amusement website. We start our coverage at 1:30. The game starts at 2. We build up and we'll be coming to you live from Carib Cinema on Saturday down in Crossroads, so you can join us for that, all right? Thanks so much again to ATL. Thanks so much again to Anybet and, of course, the Amber Group who've joined us as far as the sponsors are concerned. We still have got a week to go because it's said on Saturday at 1:30. That's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
3 decades, one epic sale. For 30 years, Active Home Center has been transforming homes across Jamaica. Now it's time to celebrate with you. Join us for our 30th anniversary sale, Monday, May 26th to Saturday, May 31st in Kingston and Montego Bay. Enjoy up to 30% off selected items, including tiles, bathrooms, furniture, lighting, and appliances. You don't want to miss your chance to save big. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here! With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings. A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving
JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Digicel! Bogo, Sim, Bogo, Sim. Get yours today and double the value. Visit your nearest Digicel store and grab your Bogo. Get your Bogo Sim now and get a second SIM free. Enjoy free calling for 3 months between the 2 SIM cards. Plus, a 3-day plan with 300 minutes plus 15 gigabyte any use data on both SIM cards. Visit a Digicel store today. Double the value and share it with friends and family. Bogo. Digicel. Better connected.
Football fans, it's the clash to determine Europe's king. When Inter Milan battles PSG in the final of the UEFA Champions League, live on the big screen at Carib 5. Join us on Saturday, May 31 at 2 p.m. for the ultimate match day experience. Brought to you by the Amber Group, Nationwide News Network, and Palace Amusement.
Dumfries, first time!
Big goals, big screens, and big vibes. Tickets are $500 for general admission and $800 for box seats. Limited tickets available, so grab yours today at the Carib 5 box office or online at palaceamusements.com. Feel the thrill of the Champions League final, just like you're in the stadium.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink, access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multilink, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
The Nationwide Blue Dot Polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
Good afternoon. I'm Cliff Hughes.
Good afternoon, listeners. Good afternoon, Cliff. My name is Ricardo.
How are you, the boss?
I'm doing well, and just to remind our listeners, we're streaming live on YouTube. You can hop on over there, Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. You can also follow me on X at CARDOBROOKS, and he's a celebrity, so maybe you don't need to follow him, but Cliff Nationwide on X to, continue the conversation on the polls, because everybody has something to say about these poll findings. So,
well, and this evening we're telling you that a clear majority of registered voters now believe the governing Jamaica Labour Party is best equipped to deal with the main problems facing Jamaica. That's according to the Nationwide Blue Dot polls powered by Total Tools. 51% of Jamaicans say they believe the Holness-led administration is the best party to solve the problems of crime, unemployment, and cost of living. That number has risen sharply in the last 3 months, when only 37% of voters held that view. Ricardo Brooks has been tracking the numbers.
The Holness-led JLP has been touting what it says is a record of performance and achievement over its near decade-long stint in government. The Prime Minister himself has asked voters to reflect on which of the two political parties are best suited to get the job done.
All governments must come to you with a manifesto of plans, things that we're going to do. And you have to assess, can they do it? It's very good to talk rhetoric, promises, glowing words. But the real test, who delivers? Who gets the job done? That's what it comes down to.
It seems Jamaicans are now clear on an answer. When the Blue Dot pollsters asked 1,618 registered voters between May 2 and 17 which party they believed could successfully address the main problems facing Jamaica, the response was unequivocal. 51% of them said the JLP. That's a 14-point jump since February this year, when 37% placed their confidence in the JLP's ability. Notably, the JLP's strength on this question has risen by 23 points since February of 2023. That's when it recorded the lowest confidence level of 28%. The pollsters say the significant increase in confidence suggests voters are fast making up their minds and choosing between two governing visions. The People's National Party, PNP, has also seen an increase in public confidence in their ability to tackle the country's biggest problems. The party rose by 7 points over the last 3 months. The party moved from 25% then to 32% now. It's the highest level of public confidence seen in these polls regarding the PNP's ability to successfully govern. The PNP has increased by 12 points in voter confidence since 2023, but it's still dwarfed by the JLP's 19-point lead on the question of confidence. That's well outside the margin of error of 2.3%. 17% of respondents were undecided about which party was best suited to deal with the country's problems, but that figure has fallen from a high of 52% back in 2023. This may give credence to the observation of the pollsters that a strong majority of voters have indeed made up their minds ahead of this year's general election. In fact, the data suggests that for the first time in these polls, the confidence being expressed in both major political parties has surpassed 80%. If the JLP's General Secretary, Dr. Horace Chang, is right, and the record of achievement will indeed be decisive in the upcoming elections, the Prime Minister may well be dusting off his calendar and checking the available dates. In June, July, August, or September, only Wholeness knows. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
The Nationwide Blue Dot Polls, powered by Total Tools. Total Tools, they almost always have it.
Meanwhile, confidence in the JLP's ability to tackle the country's major problems has risen across all age groups over the last 3 months. Voters aged 18 to 24 were most confident in the governing party, with 61% saying the JLP was best placed to deal with the country's problems. That's up 16 points since February.
That's right, Cliff, and most notably, listeners, voters over 65 are expressing significant levels of confidence in the JLP's governing ability, giving the party, get this, a near 30-point lead over the PNP, 56% to 27%.
That must be troubling for the comrades this evening, because over 55, 65, that has been the bedrock of PNP support and resilience over the years. Well, we're going to get some reactions now from...
Joining us, President of the Jamaica Employers Federation, the JEF, Wayne Chen. We also have with us social commentator Suel Anglin. And just before we get to the guest listeners, I just want to tell the Cliff, I just want to tell the listeners the major issues that the respondents identified. Crime.
Facing country.
Yes, crime identified as the number one issue. The cost of living identified as the second issue. Corruption, number 3. Unemployment and jobs at number 4, right? And crime, 38% said crime was the major issue. Cost of living, 19% identified that. Corruption, 13%. Mr. Golding will be happy about this. Of course, he's made heavy weather. He has said that this is a corrupt government. And number 4, unemployment and jobs, only 8% of respondents identifying unemployment and jobs as the main issue. Those were the issues the respondents identified. And then saying here, 51% of them saying they believe the JLP is best place to deal with them.
All right, so we have Wayne Chen now, President of the Employers Federation and historian, as well as social commentator Suel Anglin. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Everyone. Thanks for having me.
Good. Let me begin with you, Suel Anglin. Your reactions to the findings that we are reporting this afternoon from Blue Dot. The confidence in the JLP, by the public, to really deal with the problems facing the country. Are you surprised by these numbers?
Absolutely not. And I think over the last year up to now, I think we have been seeing a consistent improvement in that era with the JLP. But I think over the last 6 months or so, I think the party and the government overall has really solidified that they have a handle on things. And I think one of our big issues for years, from I was a child, one of the big issues that we heard in Jamaica was always crime. And I think going through all the different governments, crime was that issue that just didn't go away. And I remember, I think about 2 years or so, I said if the JLP can get crime under control, I think the PNP will have a problem. And here we are for a few months now, we have been seeing crime trending down, and I think that resonated a lot with Jamaicans. We're seeing lots of development. I mean, to see a parish like St. Thomas, I was saying on Twitter the other day that I live to see a place like St. Thomas looking like Kingston. And I think those things are resonating with Jamaicans across all ages, people who were old enough to see these things really changing before our eyes. Young people look at those things and we see those things as indicators of development. Okay, the country is looking different, it's feeling different, it's going in a good direction. I think that is what we're seeing right now with these poll numbers.
And Wayne Chen, we always hear that polls are a snapshot in time. The pollsters would have been in the field between May 2 and 17, of course, at that time. That message that Sewell talks about the reduction in crime, 40% I think it's at now. That was a strong message over that period of time. You believe that, you agree that that's what's driving these numbers, these almost amazing numbers?
I believe so. 38% of the people of the poll said crime was their number one issue. There's no, and the fact is that you have two things. You have the numbers, the headline numbers. The police say murders are down 40%. But people will respond based also on their lived experience. And the fact is that the numbers have been declining, and that's statistics. But also the presence of the police and the sense of public order has improved steadily over the last year and more. You see more police on the road. Their uniforms are outstanding. They can't hide. There are more vehicles on the road. People just get a sense of greater presence. So it's not just hearing the headline that murders are down 40%, but it's also seeing an increased and more disciplined police presence. So I think both of them have resonated well with the public. But I also want to comment on something else.
Can you take that? Let's take that after the break. Let's take that after the break, Wayne. We're up on the break. Stay with us.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
15 minutes to 6.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack original crispy. Burn Shack Cajun spicy. Burn Shack a barbecue. Burn Shack we are go a Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay and Ochivios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For more
on TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here ya,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor fi go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake?
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait. I really want dege dumpling you give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're on the cover story, and it's all about the latest nationwide Blue Dot polls. A majority of registered voters are now saying they believe the governing JLP is best equipped to address the main problems facing the country. We're going through the data with President of the Jamaica Employers Federation, Wayne Chen. We also have social commentator Suel Anglin. And just before the break, Wayne Chen, you were going on to the question, I believe, of jobs and the numbers we're seeing there.
The fact that unemployment, and I've been following polls since Carl Stone made polls a public thing over 40 years ago. I have never seen jobs fall so low in the public consciousness as a concern. And it mirrors what we have been seeing with the fall in the unemployment rate. So what I'm seeing here is that the public concerns are catching up with the numbers. I mean, statistics are one thing, and headlines are one thing, but people tend to react to their lived experience. And going back to the issue of crime, better management of crime, the visibility of the police and the professionalism of the police is something I've picked up out there in the public sentiment that has also improved. So hearing the headlines that murder, the statistics are favorable, that the murders have fallen, the rate has fallen, is matching up also with an increased respect and admiration of the police. And that is the lived experience of people seeing the police around, looking more professional, behaving in a more professional manner. The communication, whether on social media or in the traditional media, of the police has no doubt also improved. So this all adds up to people feeling better about the management of crime.
And if I could just follow up, Cliff, on that question of unemployment and jobs, Wayne Chen, because you said something just now that the experience may be catching up now with the numbers, and I wonder how you square that with the argument that we have heard that people are just not feeling it.
Well, the poll is suggesting that people are now feeling things that have been headlined for a while. I mean, the record unemployment rates have been something that have been developing for the last year. And the last real poll we had in Jamaica was the local government elections of February 2024, when 52% of the people voted for the opposition and 48% voted for the ruling party. No, that was a year and 3 months ago. And we have had, I would say, a steady onslaught of good news. Low inflation. Last week we had a record low in the poverty and food poverty rate. But that is matched by other things that have been happening. Over the last few years, the number of recipients of PASS benefits and the actual spend on PASS have also improved, meaning that the most extreme poverty has been targeted. We have seen road repairs at an unprecedented rate, new water infrastructure over the last several months. So people are living and seeing things over the last year that they didn't see in that immediate period after the pandemic.
There's one concern, Suel Anglin, Wayne Chen, that the poll numbers are picking up, though, in terms of the concerns. Cost of living. And I'm going to read from the pollsters. They say concern about the cost of living jumped from 13% in February to 19% in May, the most significant increase among all ranked issues. This positions it as the second most urgent national problem, reflecting a shift from broader economic worries to more immediate personal financial stress, despite Jamaica's improving macroeconomic indicators. Yes, many households are still feeling the pinch. The contrast between strong economic headlines and daily affordability challenges is likely intensifying this issue in the public mind. That must be a warning signal to the administration. Cost of living experiences. So, Ms. Anglin?
Yes, Oh, sorry, Cliff. I thought you were in the service. But yes, I definitely think that that's something that the party has got to work on more. And I can remember, I'm not sure where the Prime Minister was speaking recently, but she did also mention that she knows that that is still an issue, and that that is actually working on. So I definitely think between the government and the finance minister, we're going to see some improvements there. I know that coming out of COVID and coming out of the hurricane that we had last year, like a lot of the agricultural products and stuff like that were affected. We saw a lot of increases in how we had to pay for things, and I think a lot of that is on the rebound now. So I'm hoping going into the next couple of months to see some improvements in terms of purchasing right there. But I think overall that is something that the government still needs to address, whether through an increase of the social programs and benefits that we have on different packages, or however. But I think that is something that we still need to work on.
Mm-hmm. Wayne?
No, there's no doubt that food inflation in particular has hit the most vulnerable very. And Jamaica has taken a double whammy. There has been global food inflation caused partly by the Ukraine war, increased demand in other countries. But Jamaica also had its own bout with beryl and unseasonal rain since July last year and onwards. We have the stories all around us. One sweet pepper costing $500 and so on and so forth. It's only in the last couple of weeks that we have seen local produce actually get back to the levels that they were a year ago. So the local inflation is real. The farmers took a big hit, and the consumers feel it. But global food inflation has also caught us, and the most vulnerable are feeling it. There's no doubt that the basket of groceries now have gone up significantly, even though the overall headline inflation rate has remained low and stable. Mm-hmm. We have been hit by energy prices that haven't really moved. In fact, they have gone down slightly. But that, on the other hand, we've been on the swing, but we lose on the roundabout because rents have gone up because housing demand has not been met by supply. So, there are other things there that some are within the government control, some are outside, but people are feeling it. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm. And Wayne Chen, how does an opposition with at the max time 4 months to go before an election, how does an opposition respond to this kind of sentiment in the population?
The opposition is a government in waiting. They have to know, not hide the policies for fear of them being stolen. That is not how the thing works. They have to come and explain clearly to potential voters in different traffic groups how they will make life better for them by better managing what we now have. How do we improve on the crime management? And I think the opposition here has not come across clearly as to what they would do differently. In fact, their message has been has been perceived to be quite ambivalent. They're not quite sure. One day you're praising police, one day you're not. You're concerned about this, you're concerned about. There's no clear difference in what they would do and better. On the question of corruption, they might be scoring some points, but according to this poll, 13% see it as a concern.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, voters have really two choices. It's not a choice between perfection and very good or good and bad. It's the two options that are presented to them.
Mm-hmm. Joe Biden always says, don't compare me to the Almighty, compare me to the alternative. Sewell Anglin, what do you think, Mark Golding, Dayton Campbell, what do they need to be saying to the Jamaican people at this point?
I think it's still the message. I think we still don't know, after all these years, we still don't know what is the alternative that we have outside the JLP. And I think rightfully, as Mr. Chen just said a while ago, we're still not clear. And I think if you look at the government and the JLP's message, they're very clear. Every time Andrew speaks, he's very clear on what they have accomplished. He gives clear examples. The people are able to see from point A what has improved to point B, what has improved to point C. So we have been seeing over the months, it has been resonating with the public over the months, all the things that the Jamaica Labour Party and the government have been doing. We're seeing the outputs of all the investment that we have been paying. And And so the country is very clear on what the JLP is putting on the table. We still don't know what the PNP is putting on the table. And I think the message that they have, it's still just not clear. It's not cohesive. And I think that is what is showing again in the poll numbers. People are not clear on what they have, so we cannot make a decision. There's no confidence to be put in because we don't know what is happening still. So I think until they are able to clearly say to us, the JLP is doing this, here is how we can make it better, A, B, C, D. Until we are clearly able to see how all of that pans out and how all of it comes together, I think we're still going to be in the same position. And I think it's just very obvious that they're grasping at everything. Like on the social media today, it's one thing. Tomorrow, it's something else. Then they said something that turns out to not be true, and then it's almost just a bag of noise. So I think that's what we need to see from them.
Yeah. Thank you very much, social commentator Suella Anglin and President of the Employers Federation, Wayne Chen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good.
And you know, Cliff, it seems that the window is closing because look at the undecided.
Yes.
In February of this year, it was at 38%. It's now at 17%.
Right.
So it's falling. People are making up their minds. So now is the time for you to be saying, when they're paying attention, clearly they're now paying attention.
Mhm.
When they're paying attention, now is the time for you to be saying, here's my stall.
Yes.
Here's what I have on offer.
The question, and I'm looking forward to the party standings, because look at these numbers. 38% unsure in February 25 over which of the two parties is better able to deal with the problem. That has plunged to 17%. Where has most of those people gone? Well, the PNP has increased its share
by
7 percentage points. The JLP twice that, 14%, 2 to 1. Yeah, does that translate into an intention to vote?
Yes.
For the JLP or for the PNP? Yeah, it doesn't necessarily follow.
No,
it does not necessarily follow.
Yeah.
All right, that's where we're going to leave it. We're going to take the break now for the headlines at 6.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening. With the headlines at 6, I'm Nora Gay Banton. Renowned neurosurgeon Dr. Carl Bruce is threatening legal action against individuals on social media claiming he has a stake in the company Medical Technologies Limited. According to a statement from the University Hospital of the West Indies, it's affirming its unwavering support for Dr. Bruce as a respected pillar of Jamaica's medical community. The hospital and Dr. Bruce are hitting back against potentially defamatory allegations making the rounds on social media following the PNP's claims of corruption in the procurement of a surgical drill for the Bustamante Hospital for Children. In its statement, the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, expressed grave concern over what it calls defamatory and unsubstantiated allegations made by Dr. Roger Hunter against Dr. Carl Bruce. Dr. Bruce is a consultant neurosurgeon and medical chief of staff at UHWI. The UHWI says Dr. Bruce is an internationally recognized neurosurgeon with decades of service and leadership in the Jamaican public health system. In a voice note being widely circulated on social media, Dr. Hunter suggests Dr. Bruce owns shares in Medical Technologies Limited, among other allegations. For his part, Dr. Bruce says he does not own and has never held shares in Medical Technologies Limited, nor are any shares being held on his behalf, either directly or indirectly, by anyone associated with the entity or otherwise. He says in his professional capacity, he has provided consultation and conducted due diligence in the health sector from time to time. Dr. Bruce says any attempt to malign his work or disseminate false narratives linking him to the ownership of Medical Technologies Limited is defamatory and will be subject to appropriate legal recourse. Meanwhile, CEO of UHWI, Fitzgerald Mitchell, condemned the comments made by Dr. Hunter. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has called out opposition leader Mark Golding for his comment about the Morant Bay Urban Centre in St. Thomas. The 20-plus acre urban centre valued at approximately $6 billion was opened about 2 weeks ago. But while speaking at the Bath PNP Divisional Conference in St. Thomas on Sunday, Golding shaded the government's move to officially open the centre.
I asked Dr. Fenton Ferguson to represent me at the so-called opening of that centre.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. Writing on his social media platforms on Monday, Prime Minister Holness says Mr. Golding's attempt to belittle the development goes deeper than just politics. According to him, it speaks to the heart of the opposition PNP. The Prime Minister says it's a party that is unable to acknowledge the development happening in the country. He adds that the PNP is also unwilling to witness and appreciate what these developments mean for the people. Prime Minister Holness notes that this is the difference between a government that builds and an opposition that tears down. The man accused of the murder of veteran journalist Barbara Gale will go back to court on July 21 after he was once again remanded in custody. The man, 24-year-old Travis Ellis, appeared in the Supreme Court on Monday for a case management hearing. Ellis is charged with the murder of Miss Gale as well as robbery with aggravation. The veteran reporter was found dead at her Caymanas Estate home in St. Catherine on December 17 last year. She had been bludgeoned and stabbed to death. Ellis also allegedly stole Miss Gale's vehicle, which was discovered a day later on Dyke Road in Portmore. He was taken into custody after police found him hiding in bushes. In January, Ellis was remanded for psychiatric evaluation. The prosecution was informed on Monday that they must disclose a forensic biology certificate and a DNA report to the defense team by June 13. Education Minister Senator Dana Morris Dixon says any discussions about the ownership of the lands of the University of the West Indies UWI Mona campus must take place at Cabinet. She was reacting to a recent plea made by the Vice Chancellor of the UWI, Sir Hilary Beckles.
Well, I read the statements from the Vice Chancellor in the newspaper, and so it was quite interesting to me when I read it. Now, the University of the West Indies has a lot of financial problems, and I can see how that could be one solution to some of the problems they have, but they have a lot of issues that need to be dealt with. In terms of the land issue, that's something we'd have to discuss at the cabinet level. I have not seen the recommendation. It may have been sent to the government before I became Minister of Education, but in my time as Minister of Education, that has not come to me.
At the UAE's annual council meeting earlier in May, Sir Hillary called on regional governments to give the university full ownership of the lands where its campuses operate. He says this would help the university diversify its revenue streams. Minister Maurice Dixon says investment opportunities still exist for the university, even as it operates on leased lands.
And if it does come to me, I will obviously review it and consider it and do the analysis to see if that would be helpful. The university has a 99-year lease, which started in sometime in the 1960s. I think they may have maybe around 40 years left on that lease, which is quite a substantial period of time. I think long-term leases are useful, and they actually allow someone to do pretty decent investments even without owning the property. And so we'd have to look at it, evaluate the request. When it does officially come to me, I will look at it.
Senator Dana Maurice Dixon, Minister of Education. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Sports is next.
In Jamaica, your rights are protected by our Constitution. From the right to education to freedom of expression, every citizen deserves respect and dignity. But remember, with rights come responsibilities. Let's uplift and respect each other and stand against injustice. Together, we can make Jamaica a better place for ourselves and future generations. Know your rights. Embrace your responsibilities. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM on Tuesday, May 27 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. for the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Floyd Green. Also, you can view the presentation on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. So tune in to Nationwide 90 FM on Tuesday, May 27 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Floyd Green. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. This broadcast is sponsored by the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Striker Mikel Antonio joined the Jamaica national senior football team in training in London today ahead of the start of the 4-team Unity Cup tournament. It was Antonio's first time with the team after his horror crash in December last year. The West Ham United record goal scorer had suffered a broken leg amongst other injuries following a car crash in London, which saw him ruled out for the rest of the season. The striker has seen a remarkable recovery since the accident and returned to the field in the training session today with the Reggae Boys. In the meantime, national coach Steve McLaren says competing in the Unity Cup forms a big part of the team's preparation for the upcoming Gold Cup and CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. The Reggae Boys are in London for the competition, which also features Trinidad and Tobago, Ghana and Nigeria, and it runs from May 27 to 31. Jamaica will take on TNT at 1 p.m. Jamaica time tomorrow at Brentford City's GTEC Stadium, while Ghana and Nigeria will battle in the other game on the day, with the winners meeting in the final on Saturday. McLaren says the competition is a good way for the fans in the diaspora to reconnect with the team.
The long-term objective is qualification for the World Cup, and this is just one of the milestones to achieve that at the end in November. But when I came to Jamaica 8 months ago, I got the job. One of my dreams, one of my things I wanted was to bring the Jamaican national team to the UK. Because we have 500,000, I think, Jamaicans in London. And so I think it's been quite a while, and I do know that they came to the UK in '98 when they last qualified for the World Cup.
That's Steve McLaren talking about the Jamaica team. The game is the third meeting between the Reggae Boys and Soca Warriors in 2025. Their two-game friendly series in Jamaica ended with the home team winning the first 1-0. The second ended 1-1. McLaren says he's impressed with the growth that TNT has shown under Dwight York's leadership.
I was impressed in such a short time what Dwight has put into the team. So I think they've got a bright future. I think they'll climb up the rankings in FIFA. And tomorrow is going to be a tough game for us, because we're not at full strength. We haven't got the team we want. And as I said, we're planning World Cup qualifiers and Gold Cup. So we have to be wary of what we do. But tomorrow for us is purely an opportunity for individuals to show that they can get into the World Cup squad or the Gold Cup squad, because we still have 3 or 4 places up for grabs.
National Senior Football Team coach Steve McLaren. And the new Brazil coach Carlo Ancelotti said he is honored and proud to lead what he calls the best team in the world and targeted winning the 2026 World Cup. The 65-year-old was unveiled as Brazil boss in a news conference at the Brazilian Football Confederation headquarters in Brasilia. The Italian joins the Selecao, having been Real Madrid manager for the past 4 years. He has won the Champions League on 3 occasions, the La Liga twice, over 2 spells in charge. Ancelotti also guided AC Milan to become European champions twice. He won the Premier League and the FA Cup with Chelsea, as well as the French and German domestic titles with Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich, respectively.
This is Nationwide's Champions League Facts.
Did you know that the UEFA Champions League has its own anthem? Yes, that's a fact. Before each game of the tournament, Champions League, an anthem written by English composer Tony Britton in 1992, is played to celebrate and honor the fact that football is bringing together so many different people.
That was Nationwide's Champions League Fact.
Brought to you by AnyBet, your best bet, and ATL Automotive, keeping Jamaica moving.
Again, we remind you the Champions League final is live on Nationwide 90 FM on Saturday. Commentary starts at 2 o'clock. We start our coverage at 1:30 and build up to the game. We're coming to you live from Carib 5 and Crossroads, and the game will also be in the cinemas. So if you want a big screen experience in a theatre atmosphere for a football game, the Carib 5 on Saturday is the place to be for that, yeah? It's a Champions League final of all places. To get into the Carib 5, it's just $500 for the regular seat and $800 for the box seat. You can also listen to live coverage here on Nationwide 90 FM. All right, the captain of the West Indies women's team, Hayley Matthews, was named the player of the match and player of the series despite England winning the third T20 International by 17 runs and the series 3-0. Matthews scored 177 runs in 3 innings, including 71 in the third match, which guided the West Indies to 127 for 8 in their failed quest to reach 145 to victory. Matthews says she would swap the awards for a win.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, really good to be able to go out there and score some runs and get some wickets as well. But yeah, definitely a closer game today, and one that we felt that we competed in really well. So would have loved to get over the line. I think just having some really strong plans and playing to my strengths at all time. I feel like I've been fortunate enough to get to play a lot of T20 cricket around the world and gain a lot of experience and learn a lot more about my game and just put my plans into practice. And thankfully, since I've been here, I've been able to execute pretty well.
That's Hayley Matthews. England made 144 for 5 in their 20 overs. Heather Knight made 66. Captain Nat Shiva Brunt 37 and Amy Jones 22. And Matthews, she had a good performance for the West Indies, picking up 3 for 32. And before we move on, of course, I'm sure you'd have heard about the incident over in England, having to do with the Liverpool FC parade. They won the championship, the trophy presented to them yesterday. And witnesses have described the horrendous moment the car rammed into a crowd of people who were attending the victory parade. And Merseyside police said a number of pedestrians were hit by the vehicle in Water Street, Liverpool, and 2 of them seriously, with 27 treated in hospital. And they have this massive banner says, "All of England stand with you." A 53-year-old white British man from Liverpool area was arrested, adding that the police said he is believed to have been the driver of the car, and one eyewitness told the BBC that the car missed him and his family by literally inches, and he said an ambulance had just made its way through the dense crowd he was part of on Water Street when there were screams ahead of them, and suddenly this dark blue car came out of nowhere and came right through the crowd. So we're continuing to follow that incident over there in Liverpool, and it's really sad though. People are having fun and celebrating a championship, and suddenly this happens. All right, the world's #1 tennis player Yannick Sinner defied a mid-match wobble to begin his French Open campaign with a straight sets victory over Arthur Rinderknech, playing his first Grand Slam match since serving a 3-month doping ban. The Italian Sinner beat French opponent 6-4, 6-3, 7-5. However, it was not as comfortable as the scoreline suggests. The 23-year-old forced to fight back from a double breakdown in the third set against a resurgent Rinderknech. It was marked a return to winning ways for Sinner after Carlos Alcaraz ended his run of 26 successive match victories in the Italian Open final early this month. Early on Monday, the world's #4, Taylor Fritz, became the highest-ranked player to exit this year's tournament at Roland Garros. He was beaten by the Daniel Almatia in the first round. Jamalco were crowned champions of the Netball Jamaica Supreme Ventures Major League after a come-from-behind 46-45 win over Rockhurst at the stadium courts at the weekend. Jamalco's goalkeeper Paula Ann Burton was named MVP. Meanwhile, Speg B defeated Global B 36-21 to claim the minor league trophy. The Intermediate B League final went into double overtime before Job's Lane eventually defeated a stubborn Maxfield B team 34-32. The Intermediate A final was also a close affair. Police A came out on top after an exciting victory over Ligani A with scores of 35-32. And finally in sports at this time, the 8th staging of the Mkoba Lindy Delapenna Golf Classic is set to be an electric affair, as a top prize on offer this year is a 2025 e-Power Nissan X-Trail for the lucky golfer who can hit a hole-in-one at a selected hole on the golf course at Caymanas Park and Country Club. Now, Caymanas Golf and Country Club. This year's staging will take place on June 7th. And I think it's the same day as the Racers Grand Prix. Excitement is already building around the tournament, which is always well supported by some of the top local golfers. And Victor Tomlinson, president of the Monroe College Old Boys Association, is happy with the support received from both corporate society and golfers so far. Tomlinson explained the need for this charity event to be held every year.
We want to develop good sportsmen and good gentlemen from Monroe College. So sports is one of the most important aspects of boys' lives. So we have a football program, we have a track and field program, there is a field hockey program, tennis program, cricket and basketball. All sporting programs should be able to get some help.
General Manager of Fidelity Motors Limited, Deborah Stewart, stressed the importance of supporting the event.
It is really an awesome event. It speaks to dedication, it speaks to commitment, and it speaks to community development. It is very, very impressive that a group of gentlemen have made a commitment as a part of their association to continue to commit to actually developing young men and also sports in Jamaica.
General Manager of Fidelity Motors Limited, Deborah Stewart. The tournament will be contested in the Stableford format with the ladies category, men and men's senior and men's super senior category as well. And that will do it for sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
What makes a burrito bun so attractive?
We have a history of strong financial performance and growth, demonstrating resilience.
Our leverage remains low relative to our peers.
The bond is available in both Jamaican and US dollars, ranging from tenures between 2 to 10 years at attractive interest rates. Plus, it's expected to be listed, which will enhance liquidity for all investors.
Burrito bonds are burrito strong. Download our prospectus, call a burrito advisor, and invest today.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales.
They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-371-4-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Football fans, it's the clash to determine Europe's king. When Inter Milan battles PSG in the final of the UEFA Champions League, live on the big screen at Carib 5. Join us on Saturday, May 31 at 2 p.m. for the ultimate match day experience. Brought to you by the Amber Group, Nationwide News Network, and Palace Amusement.
Dumfries, first time!
Big goals, big screens, and big vibes. Tickets are $500 for general admission and $800 for box seats. Limited tickets available, so grab yours today at the Carib 5 box office or online at palaceamusements.com. Feel the thrill of the Champions League final, just like you're in the stadium.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Roby Ann Williams. A special one to our friends over there on our YouTube platform. Big up on yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a Monday, the start of a new week. I hope it started well for you and you're in good spirits, good health, good wealth. We wish you all the best. Turning our attention to a major case that happened in the courts. It happened in the Westmoreland Circuit Court last Thursday. Yeah? The 3 JCF members charged in connection with the beating death of 31-year-old Mario Dean in 2014, they were found guilty. The verdict was handed down, as I said before, in the Westmoreland Circuit Court last Thursday. Corporal Elaine Stewart and District Constables Marlon Grant and Juliana Cleven, they were stone-faced as the verdict was handed down against them. Stewart was found guilty of an additional charge of perverting the course of justice. Dean was arrested on August 3, 2014 for possession of a ganja spliff. He was viciously beaten while in custody. He died 3 days later at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James on August 6, 2014. Now, the matter is set for sentencing on July 1. So the mother of Mario Dean, Mercia Fraser, she is now, breathing a sigh of relief after so long.
I can't even walk. It's just overwhelming. After 10 years, and I've been there and I have to clench my fist not to really even cry. So it's a sigh of relief. I feel much lighter, but at the same time, after all this, all the pressure that you go through and everything, it's just overwhelming. And you know what I do? I thank God most that He told me that I could keep it out until this time. And I don't know how I would feel if I didn't really stick to the race and do it. It wasn't easy, and I tell you, even since I come here, sometimes I feel like I want to leave because it was just like it going. But today, I feel relief.
All right, there you have it, Mercia Fraser. She's the mother of Mario Dean. We're asking this evening your reaction to 3 police personnel being found guilty in relation to Mario Dean's death. That's the public opinion question. Your reaction to the guilty verdict handed down in the Westmoreland Circuit Court as it relates to Mario Dean's death. I'll start with the comments on our Facebook platform, where Beva Baker is saying, I love it. The lady finally get justice for her son. Those police, they weren't about the law. They were all above the law. That's what they were thinking. They will pay for their wicked ways now, and this will teach many that no one is above the law. Philip Jackson, be who you say you are. You can't plant corn and expect to reap peas. That's why the Bible says, whatsoever a man sow, that he shall also reap. And that's a fact coming from Philip Jackson. Prince Wellington is saying, my reaction is that's a small part of the equation. The JCF is an organization where members poison each other at functions. Oh, wow. Yeah. And promotion comes to daughters and friends up the ranks through schemes, including wet crack. Wow. Promotion, yes. Okay, all right. So going off right there, Prince Wellington. But you're saying that beware, see the hypocrite them there, them a galang there. All right, that's coming from Prince Wellington. Michelle Bernard believes it's a wicked act, but sending them to prison won't help. They should pay. One would think that would be the payment. Sentencing. Derek McCreath is saying them just wicked. Them just a wicked set, giving the JCF men and women bad name. Them need to serve 10 years each in prison at hard labor. Edney Paul is saying, I'm sad about the whole issue, not casting any judgments because I know appeal coming. That is indeed true. They do have the right to appeal the decision. We have not yet heard any news as it relates to an appeal, but that will also come, I believe, after the sentencing to see what happens on July 1. George Elliott saying, you commit the crime, you do the time. It's that simple. For Barrington Buck, he is saying, look at the joke, reprimand. Okay, so he's saying, look at the joke reprimand that they're going to receive. In this sense, I believe he's saying them will get little bit of sentence. But I implore you, the people, to, be cautious, because what? There are sentencing guidelines. There are sentencing guidelines that the judge must follow. There are also mitigating and aggravating factors, and I tend to say that some people, they don't necessarily understand the whole sentencing guidelines and how it works, starting point and everything. So this is why when matters are before the court and you hear a sentencing, you may very well think, oh, a little bit of sentencing that, but there are strict guidelines that the judges must follow. Rosalind Buck is saying justice served. Wesley Cunningham, I hope they won't get a slap on the wrist, but they will take a long time to see road. Sean Major Campbell, in a country of laws, justice is to be celebrated. These situations are, however, not without pain. Both the convicted and the deceased are our children and our fellow citizens. May we unite for justice always. And he ends by saying justice for one and justice for all. Yeah? What say you? Your reaction to 3 police personnel being found guilty in relation to Mario Dean's death. 2014. This incident happened in August 2014, where he was arrested for a possession of a ganja spliff, viciously put in a cell, placed in a cell, viciously beaten in custody, and he died 3 days later at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. The 3 police personnel who were on trial, they have since been convicted and will be sentenced on July 1. What do you make of this? Have you been following the case? On Instagram, let me see. Key to the City JA is saying, no surprise here. The question is if the police have the capacity to regularly self-audit its members. Will the police get better working conditions and wages for risking their lives? Right now, I believe the police have become selfish because they realize no one really looks out for their welfare. That's coming from Keys to the City JA. Latio North is saying they were guilty before the trial. We can't say that. There wasn't an impartial juror. They only formalized the guilty verdict. Boss Lady says justice has been served. Turning our attention to our YouTubers, your reaction to the guilty verdict handed down in the Westmoreland Circuit Court. Philip Jackson over here saying guilty must not walk free and free must not be charged. Let me see. Just awful, says Chinbella. Just awful. I mean, in all of this, a life was lost. A life was lost, and we really do sympathize with Mercia. No, we want justice. Let me see if I can get some more. Ronald Grant says, case has too many blatant loopholes. They will walk free on appeal. Cheyenne Atkinson is saying the 3 police that was charged for murder are guilty in the court of law. They should get 30 years in prison each for what they have done to that young man. And she's saying it is a shame. Cheyenne is saying it is a shame. Zuri is saying no one deserves to die this way. It was a terrible image. Yeah? Easy guy. It's a game of wait and see. Let's see what the judges do. Yeah. Let me see. Mildred is saying wrongdoers should pay the consequences regardless of status. And she's saying it's very sad. It is indeed very sad. I recall covering each year on the anniversary, or I should say the date that he died. I recall covering stories of his mother just going out there, I think it's Barnett Street, outside of the lockup with placards and other family members, friends, relatives, Jamaicans for Justice, and they're just out there protesting. I recall covering those stories, and it's really been a long time coming. Let me see. 30 years in prison. All 3 of them 30 years each, says Atkinson. Shelley Clark is also saying they all must serve a long time in prison. David Nabar believes that they will walk just like Cartel. All right, let me see if I can get in a few more here. It's a wait and see game, yes, as it relates to the sentencing. Albert Simpson says justice. Mario. Let me see if I can get in a few more on this. Electra believes that they won't get a long time. Yeah? David Nabar, I would rather treat justice. Well, we respect the courts and we respect the decision of the jurors and the courts. Let's see what will happen on July 1. We will stay very close to let you know. Thank you so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Sterling Asset Management has once again partnered with Crime Stop Jamaica, contributing $1 million Jamaican dollars to support the organization's ongoing efforts to combat crime and promote safer communities across the country. The sponsorship was formally announced on Wednesday, May 21, at a handover held at Sterling's New Kingston office. Sterling says this latest sponsorship builds on its multi-year support of the organization. It says this included a $5 million commitment between 2021 and 2023 and a $1 million in 2024, bringing its total contribution to date to $7 million. Further afield, U.S. President Donald Trump has agreed to extend a deadline to negotiate tariffs with the European Union by more than a month. Last month, he announced a 20% tariff or import tax on most EU goods, but he then later cut this to 10% to allow time for negotiations. On Friday, Trump expressed frustration with the pace of talks and threatened to raise the tariff rate to an even higher level of 50% as soon as June 1. On Sunday, he wrote on social media that he was pushing his deadline back to July 9. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 160 Jamaican dollars and 23 cents to buy $1 US, 216 Jamaican dollars and 45 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 116 Jamaican dollars and 82 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Roby Ann Williams. Good evening.
It's the new Jamaica Police Force. We're embedding quality service delivery into the police training to ensure respectful and professional interaction with the public at all times. We have redesigned police stations to be more welcoming, featuring reception areas instead of guard rooms, private interview rooms so domestic calls can be interviewed separately. All this is part of the evolution of a strong force for good, shaped by the sound policy of the government, backed by the government's financing of critical power, and guided by the visionary leadership within the force and the Ministry of National Security.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
You're a VIP with CIBC Caribbean. Spend US $100 or local equivalent with your CIBC Visa credit card for your chance to win a crop over VIP experience in Barbados. An all-expense paid trip for two, staying at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, cultural tours, and Aura experience with full glam makeup, plus tickets to the hottest last lap events. Visit CIBC Caribbean /crop over 2025 for more info. Conditions apply.
It's $1 million summer with Mitsubishi. And if I reach, we go, we have to reach it. Try and cross it to safe and easy. Expander, link up Pochi weekend. It's $1 million summer with Mitsubishi. L200 with space and seating comfortable. It's a Mitsubishi. Hey, it's a Mitsubishi. It's $1 million off. Them tree ride. Features nice with the leather inside. Cool AC, everybody feel right. It's $1 million summer. $1 million summer.
Conditions apply.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining presents National Minerals Week from May 25 to 30, 2025 under the theme Minerals for National Development. Activities include a church service, bauxite land titling conference, technical conference on limestone, investor forum, and a bauxite industry session. Notably, the technical conference and investor forum will be held on May 28 and 29 respectively at the Jamaica Conference Center. For more details, visit www.moa.gov.jm or follow at MOAFJM on IG.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesday, May 27, as we highlight the Ferry to Rock Pond Pipeline Project. Through its Engineering and Capital Projects Department, the NWC is expanding the potable water network in the Red Hills area and surrounding communities. Residents in Red Hills, Forest Hills, Plantain Heights, and surrounding areas will soon enjoy a more reliable water supply even during the dry season. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online, Tuesday, May 27, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the broadcast of the Ferry to Rock Pond Pipeline Project. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation.
The following is a paid political broadcast brought to you by the Jamaica Labour Party of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's address at the South East Clarendon Constituency Conference on Sunday, May 25, 2025.
Let me tell you. Please. I was watching the live stream of the event here. And you look beautiful. You look good. The energy in the room came across the screen. The speakers were all on point. The audience was engaged. The platform looked very disciplined. And that is who we are as a political party. We are high energy. We are inclusive. We bring everybody in. We have a message. And everybody in our party is respected. And what? No, everybody look good. And as I was driving in, I recall a few months ago visiting here just after Hurricane Beryl and how the place was devastated. Quickly, help many people get back on their feet. I know that there are still some persons who are not yet complete in their assistance and recovery. And I have said to your minister, who is a minister that is leading that charge, that whatever the bureaucratic hurdles there are, you must get over those hurdles and make sure that everybody gets their recovery. And I know that my minister is going to make sure that everyone who qualified for a recovery grant will get their recovery grant. It is not a matter of money. It is just a matter of the process. And therefore, Minister, make the process work faster. But I am moved to commend you, the residents, the citizens here, because many of you did not wait on government. Many of you took matters into your own hands and fix your own roof, repair your own shop, fix your own boat, and you're gone back. You're gone back at sea, you set up back your shop. And that is the definition of a labor right. Labor rights don't sit down and wait on the government. Labor rights are naturally industrious, hard-working people. Labor rights are people who believe in independence. We will do things on our own. If something not given, why not get it? But we're not going to wait on it if it not come. That's how we stay. What we want is a government to enable us to provide the infrastructure, the road, the water, the education. We will go find it on our own. What we want from the government is for those people who really can't help themselves. You call those the vulnerable and marginalized. Look out for them. And that is what your government has been doing. For all the times that I have come into Rocky Point and into Southeast, I've always been so very impressed with the people. You have a special energy. This is a special part of Jamaica. Yes. This is a really special community. When I went on the fishing village, many boats were destroyed. Many fishermen lost their stocks. No electricity. So your cold storage was out. But that did not daunt you. I met a lady there who had a whole heap of fish and shrimp and lobster. And she come up to me and say, Prime Minister, me have a whole heap of seafood. And I bring her onto my Instagram and my Facebook and we do a little post. And because of that, she was able to sell a whole heap of the food where she have that would have ordinarily spoiled. But she was very industrious. She never sit down and make it spoil. She see me and she said, Prime Minister, give me a bus now. And that is the nature of the people. When I toured the fishing beaches, nobody was saying, take your money now, Prime Minister. Where they were telling me, help me to fix back my shack. Help me to get back my little deep freeze. Help me with my boat. Independent people just looking for not a handout, but a hand up. And as I toured this community during the recovery period, just after the hurricane, I got a chance to interact with you and to hear your challenges. One of the things that bothered me greatly was when we went into a community and we turned on the pipe and the young man said, Prime Minister, if you taste this water, the living sea water you taste. And then another youngster came to me and said, Prime Minister, we have a big tank and the pipe run, but when you turn it on, there is no water. So I know that water is a big issue here. As I spoke with your member of parliament about the issue, and we were discussing why is it that there is this problem with the water, obviously, over many years, your mangroves have been destroyed, and therefore there is a high level of saline intrusion in the water table. And when that happens, your pipes get corroded and water seep in, seawater. But more than that, this area, by and large, was informally settled. So a lot of people here don't have title for their property. A lot of people are in communities that were not properly planned. And so as I think about the problem about water, I also have to think about the problem of how we properly plan your settlement, because the roads are not always properly scribed out, and because of that, sometimes you are in areas that are prone to flooding because the drainage was not properly put in from the start. So as you examine the problem of water, you have to deal with the problem of land settlement, and then you have to deal with the problem of drainage. But outside of that, and of course, your problem with the roads. When you take all of those together, Minister Baz, him don't tell you what he's going to do for your light situation. When you take all of that together, you realize that you can't just come to the people with a simple plan. You can't just come tell you, say, yeah man, when we win, you're going to get water, light, road. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you know that the challenges that you face require a government who cares, and a government who understands, but a government who is effective, a government who can deliver, a government that has the track record, a government that has done it before and can do it again. you know that you need a government with something called wherewithal. I don't know if you ever hear that word before, but I want you to put that word in your mind now. Wherewithal. The ability, the capacity, the strength, the stamina to get things done. And as I speak to you, looking at an audience filled with young people, looking very hopeful, listening intently, an audience of middle-aged people, hard-working people who would have seen politicians come before and wondering, 41 years unite, boss, and wondering, what is next for me? I never take it for granted that because you all gather here wearing party colors, that you don't have the concerns of your daily life in the front of your mind when you come to these meetings. Even with your loyalty, you still wrestle with your concerns. My job is not to come and take advantage of your loyalty and leave your concerns. That is not my job. That is not my intention. My job, my role, my intention, the reason why I'm here, my passion, is to address your concerns, whether or not you are loyal to me or my political party. I am here to serve every Jamaican, regardless of whatever color they choose. So when I left here, having gone through, stopped and talked to people, listened very carefully, and I went back into Kingston, and I sat at my desk, and I said, what it is that we need to do for the parish of Clarendon, but as I am here in Rocky Point, for the people of Southeast, and in particular, Rocky Point. And as I reflected on what we have done in St. Thomas, the parish that has been variously described, but in particular as the forgotten parish. And all you need to do is to look at what we have done. Now I want you to hold on to my hands a little bit and look into my eyes a little bit and just listen carefully. The Jamaica Labour Party has fixed the national economy. The national economy. Listen to me carefully now. We have reduced debt. We have brought inflation under control. We have put resilience, we have built resilience into the economy, meaning that if you get a storm, you recover in less than a year. Normally it takes you all 4 or 5 years to recover. We are running the economy so that we don't have to rely on taxes, more taxes from you. You don't have to worry about taxes. No new taxes. In fact, we are giving back people taxes. It is the first that any government has ever given back taxes under what is called the reverse tax credit. We have reduced unemployment. We have reduced the national debt. We have increased the reserves. And as you have said, my friend, we have cut absolute poverty in half, and we have increased the minimum wage. All of these are incontrovertible, irrefutable, uncontestable facts. And that space, no one can challenge us. And even some have chosen to ignore it. But that's their choice. Hold on. Now, in the next phase of our government, what we are going to focus on now is to create what I am going to call your local economy. In the same way we fix the national economy, we are going to fix your local economy so that you can live, work, do your business, raise your family, and experience your own prosperity right here in your community. That is what we're going to do. That is what is called bringing the prosperity of the economy closer to you. What does that entail? From the dividends, meaning from the proceeds that we get from the big economy, the national economy, we will divide that up fairly across the country, as we did for St. Thomas. And what we did for St. Thomas, we looked at a couple things. One, St. Thomas needed a proper highway to connect it to the rest of Jamaica, quickly and efficiently. So we built that highway. Normally, it would take you over an hour, sometimes 2-3 hours, to get from one point in St. Thomas to Kingston. Now, I get there sometimes in 45 minutes or less. Fast. Once you start to increase in and out traffic, then you're going to get more business. Because it becomes an option for people to say, you know what, instead of me living in a town where it's cramped, let me go find a little piece of land in St. Thomas and build and live there. So you're going to see an economy emerge in St. Thomas as people go to live there, people go to work there, people go to raise their families there, people go to do business. You're going to see tourism boom. You're going to see business process outsourcing boom. You're going to see agriculture boom. You're going to see mining boom. All kind of things going to happen there. And once that starts to grow, more people get employed, more people have income, and people can take care of themselves. We put in main trunk lines for internet, big water mains for water. We put in proper power lines coming in, and we're now going to start to fix the roads leading into the communities so that people can start to experience real prosperity. We are now going to do the same thing for this parish. And this parish has a larger economy already than the parish of St. Thomas. This parish has a large agricultural base. You have a large mining base. You have a large fishing base. And recently, you have the LNG terminal, which is somewhere off the coast. And you have the bauxite terminals up. So you have the makings of a strong economy already. What we must now do is, one, fix your roads, your critical roads. And we have started that kind of fair distribution through the Spark program, where we are allocating 10 roads approximately to every MP. But there is another allocation of the Spark program, which is now for strategic roads, main corridors that connect communities together. And so those we will announce shortly. That's the second phase of the Spark program. So many of the critical roadways that connect you, those roads are going to be repaired. We have announced a program this year of $10 billion for water. We have already started $150 million work in this constituency. Well, it's really central, but it will affect this constituency for the Junop Crescent water pipe replacement, which will give thousands of people in the parish and in this constituency more reliable water supply. Remember, it was this government who started the process of putting in your pipes in and around this area. We are going to make further allocations to fix the problem that you're having with the saline intrusion. You don't have to worry about that. That is already in train. Secondly, you have an asset sitting down there called Vernon Field. Mike Henry, much respect to him, was a big advocate for Vernon Field. And we have the plans already. We put in place a team of consultants who studied it and gave us a plan. But when you look at the country's air assets, our airport assets, we decided that we are going to go first with the development of a new airport in Negril. And you would have heard Minister Vaz announce that. Because from a strategic perspective, it gets the tourists into that side of the island very quickly. So once that has started, then the next airport asset that we're going to develop, which we already have the plan for, is Vernon Field. Now, Vernon Field will create new employment opportunities for young people in this constituency and all the constituencies in Clarendon. One area that we are targeting, and it is a very lucrative industry. Obviously, it takes time to build out, but it is in the progress. It is called the aircraft maintenance and operations. Maintenance, repair, operations. And that is where all the airlines carry in their planes to get maintained and repaired. Right now, you have such operations in Honduras. You have them in other Latin American countries. But because Jamaica is so centrally located, we can have that kind of operation here. And you don't need to have a big one because the airline industry, the aircraft industry is so large. You just need to get 1 or 2 airlines sending 5 or 6 planes here to get them repaired and maintained, and you have a big industry. And I know that we have the technical expertise to do it. And I know we have the people who we can train to do it. So that is going to be a new industry that we're going to develop for your parish and specifically to help the people here. Already, because of the highway, there is great demand for housing in this parish. And I can tell you that there are at least 4 large housing developments that are in various stages of development in this parish. Housing for all sectors of the market, low income, middle income, and upper middle income. So we will have housing for everyone who is able to afford it. And for those who can't afford, we have our social housing program. And we have done an amazing job in this constituency and in fact in all the constituencies have benefited from our new social housing program. So, once we have put in place everything to create your local economy, to improve your agricultural development project, where we have irrigated several thousand acres of land that is going to take on former sugar lands and convert them into other crops, such as orchard crops and cash crops. That is going to create a new economy. So, my friends, my family here in Southeast Clarendon, you have a government that has a track record. We show you what we are able to do in St. Thomas. We show you what we have done in the economy. And now I am telling you the next phase, the next step, which is to bring that closer to you in your community. I want you for a moment to start to visualize, to look and see and feel how your community and your life is going to change when your kids have access to better jobs that pay better, when your road fix, when you have the convenience of water, when your clinic and hospitals have greater capacity, when you have better housing, and all of those will come as a result of this government creating a better and new economy for the people in this area. I say all of this because after the vuvuzelas and the shouts of shower, you still go back home and are confronted by your realities. But when you leave here, you must leave here with a sense of hope that things are changing and things will continue to change for better under the government that you have chosen to lead the people of Jamaica to the realization of their full potential and aspiration. That is my passion, my friends, and that is my mission. But I don't take it for granted. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 10, a part of it says, brethren, what does it say? Brethren, make your calling and election I want to leave that message to every Labourite. Labourite, make your calling of the election sure. Don't take anything for granted. Crowds don't win election. Polls don't win election. Newspaper columns don't win election. What wins election is the vote in the box. And elections are all about a choice. Some people will make a choice irrationally. They wake up on the wrong side one morning, kiss them teeth, and make a wrong vote, and then them suffer for the rest of the time. Some people will make a choice based on a promise. A man come and tell them, say, I have a horse for you and that horse can fly. And you believe. You don't look at the track record to see if there was any horses that have flown before. And then there are some people who just don't know. And anything you tell them, them do. And it is those persons that we who are in the know, that we who see the vision, who have looked at the track record and the history, who are looking at the current experience, we must look at our brothers and sisters. My friend, you could have completed my speech and educate them. Because it makes no sense that we are in one boat together and one set of people do irrational things and turn over the boat with the people who are doing the right and rational thing. So this election is not only about Labourites going to vote for the Jamaica Labour Party. No. This election is about the voters doing the right things that will benefit them, but they must understand that what is in their benefit individually may not necessarily be what is in the benefit for the country nationally. And the only way that your benefit individually is going to be secured is when the benefit of the country nationally is secured. Because you can't develop part of Jamaica and leave half of Jamaica. PNP people must know that when the Jamaica Labour Party win, they win as well, because they will benefit equally from the prosperity and the dividends of the good management of the national and the local economy. PNP people must know that your party here, the Jamaica Labour Party, is not a party that discriminates. We are not a cult. We don't look at people by virtue of their color and exclude them. No, we are the national party of Jamaica. The Jamaica Labour Party is the national party. The Jamaica Labour Party forms the natural majority of people who think reasonably and rationally about the country. And therefore, my Labourites here in this lovely constituency of Southeast Clarendon, where you have Labourite here so and PNP here so, don't frown up your face at them. Embrace them. Engage them. Talk to them. You have a track record of a government that has performed very well that you can show them. And you have been given the mission and the mandate to bring to them. Bring them along on this journey to move Jamaica from poverty to prosperity. Labourites, choose Jamaica. Choose the Jamaica Labour Party. God bless you. I love you.
That was a paid political broadcast brought to you by the Jamaica Labour Party of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's address at the South East Clarendon Constituency Conference on Sunday, May 25, 2025.
NWC customers, you have spoken and we have listened. We are opening our commercial offices to facilitate debt amnesty transactions on Saturday, May 24 and Saturday, May 31. If you are a pensioner, past beneficiary, or have a commercial account, you may qualify. So, don't miss this final opportunity. Residential customers, you may qualify as well. Visit nwcjamaica.com for further details. That's Saturday, May 24 and Saturday, May 31. The NWC commercial offices will be opened for your convenience, serving you in so many ways.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere, spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
It's 16 minutes after 7. You're still tuned into Nationwide at 5, and we're turning our attention now to a call from the Equality for All Foundation, formerly JFLAG, for the Member of Parliament for West Portland, the Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, to apologize for what they say is his endorsement of homophobic lyrics. Now, Vaz ended his presentation at the Southeast Clarendon Constituency Conference yesterday with a 2001 hit song by T.O.K. That song is called Chichi Man.
God bless you and carry the word out there. Third term, third term, third term, third term, third term. Run the music, soul man. Hold me again. No, hold on. Soul man, you think me can come off of the stage and you don't run Chichi Man? I'm mad, you're mad. I'm mad, you're mad.
Shout. My crew, my dogs, set rules, set laws. We represent for the lords of yards.
Daryl Vaz, West Portland MP. The term Chichi Man is a derogatory label that refers to gay men. The song is purported to promote violence against gay men. Equality for All says it's disappointed in the use of homophobic slurs at political rallies.
It says it condemns the willingness of a sitting member of parliament and a member of the cabinet to encourage the playing of a song widely known to advocate for violence against LGBTQ plus persons in Jamaica. Executive Director Glenroy Murray says the use of the song represents a backward step for the nation's politics and the country at large. The foundation also wants the Office of the Political Ombudsman to issue a clear statement that the use of homophobic or any other discriminatory language targeting a person or community is not acceptable.
Glenroy Murray is the Executive Director of JFLAG
Equality for All Foundation.
Equality for All. Good morning, good evening, Mr. Murray.
Good evening.
Tell me, what's your immediate reaction to Daryl Vaz having this song played yesterday at a JLP political rally?
As said in the statement, it's an immediate reaction of disappointment. I don't expect a sitting minister to
hold on, Glenroy. The line is a little bit bad. We're going to try to fix the line. Yeah. So, of course, Vaz gave a spirited presentation. Had the labor rights in a frenzy. I was actually watching it live. As you know, we have to keep up with these political events in this period. And I was a little bit surprised, actually, because it sort of came out of nowhere. But the crowd was in a frenzy
when he raised it.
Oh, yes. But, yeah.
Well, we're trying to sort out a line for Mr. Murray. Yes. He's the Executive Director, as we say, for Equality for All Foundation. And certainly, I thought we were moving away from that. And the political rallies.
Right. We have seen a lot of it. You can recall, for example, the opposition leader would have gone to, was it Glenroy Murray?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, good. Much clearer. Yes, you were giving us your immediate reaction.
Yeah, it's a reaction of disappointment. I have come to expect more from all of our political representatives, especially somebody that's a sitting cabinet minister, particularly after some statements that were made some years ago where both political parties seemingly were of one voice around the use of homophobic rhetoric on the campaign trail. And that's why we're calling it a backward step, because this is not something that we would have expected.
Well, he hasn't publicly apologized as yet. What exactly are you calling on him to say or to do? What do you want him to say?
So what we want him to do is to acknowledge that whatever his intentions were in queuing up that song was to acknowledge that the song in and of itself is harmful because of what it is known to represent. It does represent a call to do harm to members of the LGBT community here, and to express an apology in that regard, and to commit to not doing it again. There are other options that are available to him if he wants to queue up songs to rally up the troops or, energize his base.
But isn't that the point, Glenroy, that Minister Vaz, he doesn't think he'll suffer any political consequence for the use of this kind of music, and that's why he probably drew for it?
And I totally understand that that's where he is, but it's exactly why we're speaking up, because as an organization that represents a community, we're making it very clear that we are not going to let our politics return to a point where this kind of thing is acceptable. And so we will be having our discussions internally about what our next steps are to kind of drive home the point that we won't accept this kind of rhetoric coming back. It is dangerous in a lot of ways, given the history of this country, that all of us, not just my organization, but every stakeholder in society has worked hard to move away from.
In terms of political organization and activation of the LGBTQ plus community, does Equality for All do any of that in lead up to an election, for example?
We have done in the past surveillance. We have just paid attention to what our community was doing, engaged their feedback. We've, over the last few years, done a bit more work in assessing where the community is and what their priorities are. And so now is where we get into the phase of mobilizing. But our mobilizing will not be on the basis of party affiliation. It will be squarely on the basis of the identified needs of our community and who speaks to those needs.
How have we been doing, Glenroy? You monitor these things. Is this a retrograde step, or is it in keeping with what has been happening in Jamaica for decades?
It is a retrograde step. It's a retrograde step because over the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years, we've seen a positive shift in attitudes towards members of the LGBT community, and that is a documented positive shift. It's a retrograde step because when a similar thing was done in 2020, there was a clear statement that we're beyond this. And so for us in 2025 to see the glimmers of this reemerging, we're saying, hold up, wait a minute, not here. We worked too hard to get beyond that.
Mm-hmm. And beyond the apology that you've called for Mr. Vaz, are there any other structural things, I don't know, in terms of laws, that kind of a thing, that you think you'd want the political representatives to pay attention to in an effort to end discrimination?
Absolutely. I mean, as an organization, we've long advocated for the enactment of anti-discrimination legislation in Jamaica, comprehensive legislation that eliminates discrimination in all its forms and wherever it shows up, as well as amendments to our anti-sodomy laws that criminalize same-sex intimacy between men.
Mm. And let us be very clear, Mr. Murray. You are saying this and advocating for this because this is essentially the promotion of violence against a group of Jamaicans.
Yes.
Yes, because the song Chichiman is really promoting the killing of gay men.
Yes.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
Glenroy Murray, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Still no apology from Minister Vaz. We wait to see whether he will indeed apologize. Oh, no.
It's 25 minutes after 7. It's now time for the Watchman. What?
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. If you can't vote for a party, vote for a person. I have a soft spot for politicians. Born into the family of a preacher politician in the then constituency of South East St. James, I have vivid memories of the drive from Montego Bay up the hill to the Baptist Manse at Malden. A journey of 16 miles seemed to take forever because of the number of stops along the way to meet, greet, and listen to the needs of every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jane. I remember the long days stretching into the nights with my father attending events from funerals to school functions to political meetings. I also remember how he left politics a broken and broke man. The cynics will say politicians have changed from what they were back in the day. Maybe so. I can't, for example, imagine politicians of C.A. Morgan's ilk spending time drawing up a list of things that are not part of a member of Parliament's job. As some members of the Joint Select Committee of Parliament reviewing proposals for job descriptions of MPs and cabinet members are said to be doing. But the hardness of the job, the personal sacrifices, and the ingratitude have not changed that much. Retired MP, Cabinet Minister and Speaker of the House, Pernell Charles, in a December 29, 2019 Sunday Observer story, gave a graphic portrayal of the MP's job. I quote him, "There is no way $308,000 salary per month can compensate anybody who is truly going to want to represent a constituency. They come to your office every day with medical bills, those seeking help educating the child, providing books, uniform, transport, and food. Plus, you have to assist those who are not working. The politics that we play in Jamaica is not executive politics, where you drive past and wave. The politics of the day is, I will vote for you if you can assist me with my difficulties, and I promise to assist you if you vote for me. So when I win, I have to hide." End of quote. Turned off by party politics, many Jamaicans see no virtue in politicians or value in political representation. A minority, the electorate, vote in national elections, local or general. There's no perfect politician, but just like back in the days, there are some who unflinchingly do their work as MPs or members of the cabinet. My favorite is Olivia Babsy Grange. Articulate and engaged, she leads from the front. Desmond Mackenzie, another protege of the late former Prime Minister Edward Seaga, brings a no-nonsense approach to his work and retains enough of the street swag that makes him appear authentic and grounded. Edmund Bartlett is one for the annals. The consummate marketer who also gets things done. The consummate marketer who also gets things done locally with global impact. Mark Golding, I get to see up close. He represents the constituency where my work is based. A bright and decent man who has had greatness thrust upon him. Julian Robinson, my MP, is an urbane and temperate soul. Always shows up, but never shows off, as if better than those he serves. These are but a few. Voting is a privilege and a benefit of living in a democracy. In the upcoming elections, if you can't vote for a party, then vote for the better candidate. But vote you must. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
It's time for you to have your say. You know the numbers well. 630-9371, 630-9372, 630-9373, 630-9374. And the digital line is 618-8255. Soon come.
Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesday, May 27, as we highlight the Ferry to Rock Pond Pipeline Project. Through its Engineering and Capital Projects Department, the NWC is expanding the potable water network in the Red Hills area and surrounding communities. Residents in Red Hills, Forest Hills, Plantain Heights, and surrounding areas will soon enjoy a more reliable water supply even during the dry season. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online, Tuesday, May 27, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the broadcast of the Ferry to Rock Pond Pipeline Project. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation.
Football fans, it's the clash to determine Europe's king. When Inter Milan battles PSG in the final of the UEFA Champions League, live on the big screen at Carib 5. Join us on Saturday, May 31 at 2 p.m. for the ultimate match day experience. Brought to you by the Amber Group, Nationwide News Network, and Palace Amusement.
Dumfries, first time!
Big goals, big screens, and big vibes. Tickets are $500 for general admission and $800 for box seats. Limited tickets available, so grab yours today at the Carib 5 box office or online at palaceamusements.com. Feel the thrill of the Champions League final, just like you're in the stadium.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM on Tuesday, May 27 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. for the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Floyd Green. Also, you can view the presentation on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. So tune in to Nationwide 90 FM on Tuesday, May 27 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Floyd Green. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. This broadcast is sponsored by the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining.
The first caller is Bobby. Good evening, Bobby.
Yes, good evening, Ricardo. How's everything, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
Well, I am here holding on, I forgot from the CXC exam start to wish not only the students at my school all the best, but I want to wish all the children in the island and by extension in the region the very best. Right? Just go out there and do your endeavor best, because my son passed through that already. He leaves school with a lot of subjects over 2 years ago, but now I have an adopted son at my school who is pursuing his CXC, so I wish all of them the very best. But what I wanted to ask you, Ricardo, I know you are a bright man, I know you are brilliant, And I
don't
know
know about all of that,
you,
but I'll answer the question.
And I know you are brilliant. Do you observe something with the PNP from 2016 until now?
What? What exactly? I've observed a lot of things about the PNP.
All right. First, when Mr. Andrew Holness was the leader of the opposition, and every new development the government bring out in the country in the best interest of the people, he always laud it. He welcome it. He applaud the government, and so on. Now, this opposition now is in office, and from 2016 until now, anything the Andrew Holness administration put out in the country for the best interest of the people, they always discriminate it. And first thing, they want Auditor General to check it out because it seems like there's some corruption and so on. What I'm talking about, it is the drill at the Bustamante Hospital. And I think to myself, if Dr. Dawes would have the common courtesy to say, look here, this is for the children, he would have laid up that project. It is a new drill. Yes, it is better you buy. It is better you buy a brand new car more than you go out there and buy a second-hand car, and as soon as you drive it down the road, it'll lock off on you. I think, record, and I'm saying it to the PNP. Look here, be a viable opposition man and stop play politics with the life of the Jamaican people, especially for those who are in healthcare. Come on, man, right? I have seen this present Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Andrew Michael Holness, what this man have done for this country. Everybody should laud it up, right? He is doing an excellent job, and I just urge him, and I urge Dr. Christopher Tufton, don't pay the opposition no mind. You and your team continue to work in the best interest of the Jamaican people. Okay then, and thank you very much. Here.
All right, Bobby. Errol, good evening.
Sherman.
Ricardo, Bobby.
Oh, Ricardo, I'm
See me, I'll call you somebody else's name. Errol.
Good evening.
Salute.
Yes, sir.
Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
I was calling last week, Thursday, Ricardo.
Uh-huh.
You remember?
Yes.
They tell us that when Blue Dog Poll come, today, me ask you when I say the 26th, I'm tell you when it come, people are going to fret. People are going to have, I don't know if it's them are going to have. Remember, me tell you, you know. These are the moment, because this is not no fake poll. We don't buy fake poll like them. Don't understand poll fake.
Where you call Mr. Anderson name for?
After you know, come in fake poll, man, come get them.
No, I don't know about no fake poll.
Call Ricardo, man. No bias murder. I know why you're biased.
I am not biased. I'm telling you, I don't know about no poll being fake.
Fake, man. Fake. How much day the poll are going to run for?
Until Thursday, I believe, yes? Cliff?
Until Thursday. The better part no come yet.
What's the better part?
You don't know. We ain't touch the part with who you choose. You choose Marky G. You choose Doctor. That part everyone come.
So you know what I say? Cliff tell you?
Cliff don't tell me. Cliff had dodged it.
Oh.
But me can't see it. I listen Cliff from man you're talking and me can't know it did for the doctor.
It did. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I don't know. They, as I tell you, them.
They never know it.
No man, true. Them keep it from you until the last minute.
Ricardo.
Yes.
The last time when Marky G go make him talk in the budget, you know. You are back him on Cliff. When Cliff tell him, no, you are back him, you know. Remember that, you ever back him, you know?
No, I don't know about that.
Cool.
I don't know what ever back him.
Look here,
but I will give Mr. Golding his due, and I think he deserves it.
You think him deserve it? So no way we deserve all certain man from from down in Manchester talk about 30 years, see them soon over 30 years or what. Look here now. When the poor will come for down at St. Elizabeth, and that's the one, when you know read that one then?
I think that's on Thursday evening as well.
Yes.
There'll be a special show when all that will be revealed. The party standings, the constituency polls, etc. And the people from Blue Dot will be here to take Cliff through the numbers.
Let me tell you, chief place more here. Because it's an overall lead. I want to hear St. Elizabeth.
No, nobody does say Hanover lead. That's not what the data says. The data says the people in Hanover believe the country is headed in the right direction. Not that any party is leading in Hanover. You have to be careful.
I want to hear Westmoreland, I want to hear St. Elizabeth, and I want to hear St. Mary, them three there.
Well, yes, the Blue Dot people usually have the parish breakdowns.
Can I urge you to be careful? You might get a surprise.
No surprise, Mr. Hughes.
All right.
I'll talk to them.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right, Errol. Country? No, not here, country. 630-9371 to 461-88255. Ian, you're up next.
Hi, good night, Mr. Hughes. And who is it, Ricardo?
Yes, it is.
Good evening.
Oh, hi. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good, No, I have mixed view to quite a number of stuff, so I'll try and be as quick as possible.
All right.
So the first one is regarding Darrell Vard's speech yesterday and this whole Chicheman thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have come to a mature place. I don't think we should make big ups. I mean, I was surprised in the recent U.S. election. Donald Trump was a big, what you say, he was against this thing that we are not debating, this Chicheman thing. I mean, in his political speech, he lashed out so much against it. I think perhaps that's where he would have gotten so much rating from some Jamaicans for that particular issue. And Jamaica is not a society that goes out and hunts down people who choose to live a particular lifestyle, to kill them or to destroy them. We have not reached that place, and we have never reached that place, and we will never reach that place. But it's just the natural nature in our culture. Even if you have somebody a cuss, you say, "Wait, you're this, you're that, you're chiche man." Wait, it's just a part of our nature in how we operate as a society. So J Flag coming out, I don't see the relevance of it, to be honest with you, because Jamaica will never be a society that embrace and accept homosexual as something that is blatantly highlighted. But at the same time, if you are doing it, it's your business. We're not really business for that. And for you to cuss and tell us, yeah, this, we have a cuss and tell us that you have that. So I don't really see the big issue, and it's politics time. It's a part of the politics.
But that's exactly what Equality for All is saying, that it shouldn't be part of the politics. That kind of insult shouldn't be something that you hurl at your opponent.
And to promote violence against anyone.
Right.
But look what they leave with the Prime Minister. Look how much things they say about the Prime Minister. Look how much things they say about the same Darrell Vard. So, we have to be balanced.
And those things are condemned and ought to be condemned. So therefore, we have to be consistent. There's no place, there should be no place, sir. There should be no place in any political speech, the promotion of violence against anyone for whatever reason.
But Mr. Hughes, may I ask you a question? Do you think Darrell Vard is really promoting violence against anyone?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's, in the mood, on the platform, and he knows he's going to get a forward for it.
Yes, that's what it is. That's all it is, not more. And secondly, quickly, I remember last week I listened to you, and you spoke about the headline of the Gleaner, where they did choose to highlight what the PIOJ said about Jamaica, the poverty rate going down, but instead they choose to put on its front page. I don't remember what was it that they say they put, but you say it was some old story. You remember?
Yes, about MP funding and offices. Funding for
All right.
offices.
No, yesterday I burned my cleaner. Can you imagine? I burned my cleaner yesterday. I tell you what. I saw on the front page highlight of someone that Peter Bunting referred to as a washout Don in the last election campaign.
A washed up
Don, something like that. Being the cleaner chose to carry on the very front page as to his prediction as to the outcome of the general election. As an ordinary Jamaican, I find it troubling. I don't really know much of this person, really, more than what Peter Bunting educated us about the person, the previous election. That's all I know. And I said to myself, what's the relevance of this person's opinion coming on the front page of the Gleaner? And what sort of a message? I don't know if this gentleman as a pollster. I don't even know this gentleman as a political commentator. What's the relevance? What message? Or what is it that the Gleaner is trying to accomplish psychologically? That's how I look at it yesterday. And Jamaica, go ahead.
And I think you have put your fingers on the issue that the editorial team at the Gleaner should have scrutinized and examined in making that decision. What are we into? It means that we here at Nationwide can pick up from the street any person or a businessman, yes, and turn them into a pollster with a record that is going to be able to command the respect of our listeners when we ask him to comment on how the general elections are likely to go. What is this gentleman's record in predicting, in offering informed commentary?
So much so that is at the front page
of the Sunday Gleaner. And the questions you ask, sir, are the questions that the editorial team at the Gleaner should have asked themselves. Because the shellacking that the Gleaner has been getting over this, I think tells a story that they made a poor editorial decision. Very, very poor editorial decision.
Would you say it's poor or deliberate, Mr. Hughes? Would you say it's poor or deliberate?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
What is it that you would have
What I do know, while I can't tell you what was the motive, I can't get into their heads.
Okay.
What I can tell you, that as a practitioner, it was a poor editorial decision. Mr. Black has no record in the business of polling or analysis and commentary of politics, to deserve the front page of the Sunday Gleaner. It is a poor editorial decision, sir. I don't know what motivated it. You can all speculate, but that's what we'll be doing, speculating.
This is how I see it as a local, as an ordinary Jamaican. This is how I spin it now. I listen to my commissioner, Dr. Blake, in what he's saying to us, the Jamaican people, that crime is trending down. We are 40% below. And that is enough influence and polling for me as a Jamaican and every well-thinking Jamaican to give this government another term. We have never seen crime. And as far as I'm aware, Dr. Blake influenced another outcome in ensuring that every Jamaican lives safe, comfortable, and the law is upheld, and there is no more done. As far as I see, a matter of fact, I call Dr. Blake the legal Don in Jamaica. His record is what we're going to vote on, and his record also said that the government of the day gives them the support, the equipment, the resources in enabling them to bring the murder rate down, in enabling them to remove intimidation from our communities. And that's what Jamaica should vote about. That's what makes sense.
Thank you for the call. Carl, good evening.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Mr. Hughes.
Sita now.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes, Carl.
He's up at St. Thomas. Mr. Golding was last night when he called the urban center. What he call it?
Yes, he was in the Bath division.
So-called center.
So-called
opening of that center.
Opening of the Morant Bay Center. And you want to tell me, Mr. Hughes, that people was there who have anything when they intelligence and stood inside and continue to listen what Mr. Golding did have to say? Are you telling me, Mr. Hughes, that people in St. Thomas don't get a brain to can think for themselves?
Of course they do.
So, Mr. Hughes, if you hear a man come now to adjust your constituency like that, after when it did call the forgotten parish, where if you feel if you go out on Sunday evening and nobody go cook and cure your family, if you go eat the ice cream or eat piece of KFC, and if you think about coming to Kingston and Harborview, and a man will want to represent your country as a leader, come and talk about your constituency, your development, and you continue to listen to that serious evening.
Because people are going to respond differently. Some people may turn their back on him and walk away. Some people may sit there and grit their teeth. Some people might swear at him under their breath. Some people might leave and say, I know what to do when it comes on that day where your candidate, where your party is concerned. People may have different reactions. Some people might get up and tell him about him whatever, you know. So
I heard the gentleman like a while. We've been telling him a long time how political the Gleaner is. No surprise. But I think I must Tuesday last week, where Poverty Down and the Gleaner claimed to say they made mistake. And yesterday again, no surprise to me.
The Gleaner said they made a mistake?
Well, we that said they make a mistake.
From what I gather, there was no mistake.
Right. Well,
from what I gather, it was not a mistake. Editorially, they chose not to report that story.
Thank you very much. So, anyhow, Mr. Hughes, the Prime Minister said we must show some achievements. So, we are going to move to Dr. Dawes now. Dr. Dawes, when your party did in a power, there is no way a jail could have bought for $31 million unless Omar Davis jumped on a plane. So that is Dr. Dawes' problem. That is Dawes' problem. Anyhow, we could have built an urban center at Portland. We have built a park in Portmore. We fix the hospital. We give highway from Harborview to Morant Bay. We have built Montego Bay bypass out of the taxpayer. No Gangan pay, no Tapanaris, man. That is what is Dr. Dawes' problem. That is what the British citizen last night have a problem with the urban center out in St. Thomas and Morant Bay. Because first time there was money he would have lent the government, so he would have get that tax. We're not in that again, British citizen.
All
Give
right.
our next person a call.
Okay, Carl.
We're not in that.
All right, Carl. Have a good evening. What I tell you.
We're out of time anyway. Billboard, we can squeeze Billboard, all right. Billboard.
Good evening, dear Chief.
Good evening.
Good evening, Billboard. Quickly. Time running.
Quick. I cut off today. Listen to me. I need to know if when these opposition people going on platform, if they take some form of hype to talk foolishness. Where Mr. Golding come from now with this so-called opening? Tell me. And shortly, when the country starts trying to back tomorrow, I promised you a tsunami when the polls were down. You remember that?
Yes, I remember. You're saying, using
and I said
that
I
word.
don't want a tsunami still. but a storm is developing that is going to be a category 5 storm. You remember those things?
Yeah, yes, Billboard. I vaguely recall.
Two on it. With this pole, I feel like I could drink a box of beer this evening, but I can't go on easy. With the pole coming out today, it goes to show that what I'm saying, and it don't start yet, because Mr. Holness don't put on them green glass yet. Yeah? You with me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, Billboard.
Yes. Nice. Look for the category 5 storm.
I hope it doesn't become a tropical wave. Anyway, Mr. Golding, you know, on this issue of the so-called opening, Mr. Golding is in a difficult place as opposition leader, you know. I think he is unique in one respect, Ricardo. He's the first opposition leader going into a general election who is unable to hammer the government on certain issues that previous opposition leaders would go to song with. Yeah? Him can't attack the government on unemployment, not on crime, roads being fixed, yeah, debt going down, yeah, cost of living is still a potent issue, can't deal with crime. So Mr. Golding is in a difficult place as opposition leader going into an election. So he's going to try to bob and weave. Some people would have advised him though, hug it up, embrace what is good, yeah, come out looking better, the bigger guy, yeah. If you say, listen man, this is what success will look like. They did 1, 2, we're going to do 4. We're going to put 1 down in Rocky Point, 1 down in Hanover, yeah.
Here's the problem with that. There'd be a question of capacity to deliver. That would be the problem.
Yeah.
But we're out of time. Billboard, thanks for the call. Dana Davy, Rapunzel, thank you. Yeah, growth fast over the weekend, man.
Boy, man, I tell you, super growth.
Bugs, salute my brother. My colleagues in the newsroom, led by our editor, Cara Powell. They're the best in the business. Thank you all so much. Our sponsors, contributors, and you, our valued listeners. Thank you. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Cliff Hughes, reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
Good night.